Hey friends, Kevin here, and whether you're dealing with a van or dealing with an RV, we've all seen the same videos. 10 reasons van life sucks. 15 reasons living in your RV is hard. Whatever it is. Some of those things are valid, but some of that stuff that people put out is just absolute nonsense. When you're doing any type of long-term travel, whether you're in a van or an RV, doesn't matter. You're going to have to deal with problem solving. That's what everything is about. While each of these things that's mentioned can be an issue, there are also easy solutions for them. And once you have these worked out, then being in a van for a month or 2 months or even longer, or in an RV for months at a time, it's really not that hard. And the benefits, at least for me, of travel certainly outweigh the cons. So let's get into a few of these in detail. Finding a place to park. Finding a place to park is not that hard. There's enough little websites out there that you can go to that will tell you places to go. Now, you may have to go 10 miles away from one town to the next to find a good place to park. But other than that, free or almost free places, it's really not that difficult. And the thing that I use most is this thing called freecampsites.net, which isn't free, by the way. I think it's about $30 for an annual subscription. But I've been using that thing for 3 or 4 years now. I keep renewing it because it works. It's quick, and I can find the places around where I am, see some ratings from other people who have been there and camped in those places, stayed in those places. And I have found some absolutely amazing places because of that I would not have found otherwise. Cooking is going to be hard. Cooking is going to be difficult. Cooking is going to be weird doing it in a van. Well, first of all, the big van has a built-in stove, so that's not hard. But in a minivan, I really don't like cooking in the minivan, but to each their own. So if the weather is absolutely horrid, I make sure I have something around that, quite honestly, I don't have to cook. But there's still ways around that. Even in a rainstorm, it's finding something with a little bit of a shelter, like, say, a car wash. Because people don't use car washes when it's raining outside. So if you can find a car wash, you pull right inside. Now you have your shelter from the rain, shelter from the wind a lot of times, to where you can pull this thing out and you can do the little bit of cooking that you need to do. Again, problem solving. That's what this whole thing is about. Number 3, adjusting the toilet. I really don't like the little bag method, but hey, if that's what you need to do in order to start out with the bag and the bucket, then so be it. More power to you. I would suggest, though, that the first opportunity you get, once you know that the van life thing or the RV thing is going to be for you and you're going to be doing more of it, you can move up to a nice portable flush toilet, $100 or less, and it will solve a lot of that weirdness, solve all of that weirdness issue for you. Number 4, city van life. City van life is going to be hard. City van life is difficult. City van life is miserable. Yeah, it is. Because cities weren't ever made for this, man. Now, I know there's some people that are in a situation where they're working in an area, staying in an area, and they have to deal with this, and that's fine. Part of it is going to be, it's going to be harder for you to find a place to park at night. But if you are in major metro areas, Seattle, Portland, Los Angeles, New York City, Chicago, yeah, man, it's going to be harder. And you're not going to be looked upon real well sometimes by the police, because they have a constant large homeless population they're having to deal with in these cities, and a lot of those people, unfortunately, are in either vans or in old beat-up RVs. But if you're in the situation where you have to be there to work there, then part of it is, think about all of the money that you're saving constantly by not having to go rent a home or an apartment for that insane city price, and knowing what you're saving every day by going over and parking and sleeping in the industrial area or wherever it is you go, that should help you sleep better. Doing laundry. Doing laundry is so hard and so miserable when you're doing van life or in an RV. Really, man? Anybody that's whining about that apparently was never poor and never out on their own at an early age, where you had to deal with laundromats anyway. You just do it. You just deal with it. And summertime especially is great for me because I'm in shorts that are easy to wash. I'm in shirts. That's why you see me in different jerseys and things that's easy to wash, that I can run into a place, any place that has a sink, and with a little bit of detergent, I can wash those out in 2 minutes. I can hang them out. They'll dry in 10 minutes. Now, wintertime becomes a little bit more of a challenge because you have more stuff with you that you're having to deal with, and you don't have the weather always cooperating with you. So during those times, you're going to have to deal with the laundromat. Loneliness and being in a van is just miserable. Well, yeah, it can be. So again, this is one of these things you're going to have enough things with you to do to keep you occupied, especially when you deal with bad weather. You have a couple days of rain in a row, or you're trying to do any of this stuff in the winter time, because that's the time it is right now that I'm filming this. It is dark at about 6 p.m. We are losing a minute every day. Whatever you use for entertainment, that's going to become much more important than it does during the summer. And during the day, you just need to, if you're that type of person that needs human contact, and I'm one of those people, you're going to have to get out and find it. But you can do that. There are places you can go when you're traveling. There are often little free museums in places. You can find little events going on in the area, so you just have some people to go talk to and have some human contact. And sometimes for me, it's as simple as a library. And while you're not supposed to talk in a library, you can get by with that if you're talking to the librarian. And if you strike up a conversation with someone that works there, a lot of times you'll find out history of the area you're in. You'll find out about little events going on that you wouldn't have found out about otherwise. And if you're a little bit on the shy side, just remember that when you go up and strike a conversation with someone you've never met before, just remember you're probably never going to see those people again. And hopefully those of you that are a little bit shy, and believe it or not, I used to be one of those people, that will help you kind of overcome that. 95% of the time when you do that, it goes great. 5% of the time, they really aren't interested in having anything to do with you or probably anybody else that day, and that's their right. So maybe they're in a bad mood. Maybe they had a bad morning, whatever it is. So just let it go and go find someone else to strike up a conversation with. Pests and rodents can infest your van and your RV. Pests and rodents can infest your house. So first of all, cleanliness is kind of important. I don't know what else to say about that. If you have food and garbage and trash around, you are going to attract more critters. But there are things at certain times of year, mosquitoes, ants, whatever it is, you're just going to have to deal with. But you have to deal with that if you're living in a house or an apartment too. You should expect that, yeah, that's a little more common, a little more likely on the road, but again, you just deal with it. My very first trip, I had the van doors open. This was like the first or second night that we ever tried doing this van life thing. I had a raccoon get in the van twice and take food. I quickly learned the hard way, and even though I thought I had this stuff sealed up well enough in little plastic bags and containers where no odors would come, this thing managed to get in there. When you wake up and you're staring at a raccoon, I learned to be even more diligent with those food storage things, and I've not had a problem since then. Privacy. Well, privacy can be an issue, but again, that's where the problem-solving thing is. You're going to need something in there to cover your windows up with, depending on where you are. There's only certain things you can do in a Walmart parking lot. That may be where you chose to spend the night, but you can get up from there and leave and go and find you a city park a mile away where you will have privacy and be able to clean up and take a shower and whatever it is that you need to do that day. Privacy for me on the road just isn't that big a deal. Actually, it's not even an issue for me. Being used to living in a small space, that is the one that is it's just going to be an adjustment period for you. We all do the same thing when we start out. We all pack too much, trying to make sure we have everything to handle every kind of problem with that can come up on the road. And then we spend all of our time moving stuff around constantly to do one thing or another. And you learn to just start dumping things. If it is a problem that I can solve for less than $5 or $10 by running down to the dollar store and get some item to solve a problem for a couple of bucks, then I don't need to carry that item with me and have it wasting space. If it's something I'm not going to use very often, or it's a might or a maybe or whatever, I know what the dollar store carries and Family Dollar carries and Dollar Tree carries, and there's probably going to be one of those wherever I am. So I don't carry that stuff with me. And if a situation comes up, I need it, I go get it, I buy it, I use it, I solve the problem, and I give it to somebody else or I throw it away. But I don't carry it with me all the time. And probably the biggest thing that I can tell you with van life or small RVs, and I've actually worked this into the rest of my life slowly, is if you buy something and bring it home, don't do that unless you're getting rid of something else. You find a jacket you like better, you get rid of the jacket you have. Go donate it, give it away, do something with it. Sleeping bag, whatever. Anytime you upgrade, get rid of the one that you already have. Pass it on to someone else. But I'd love to hear your opinions of all this stuff, and I'd like to know other problems you think, and you may be right, that you've run into that are serious problems on the road that we all have to deal with. And with that in mind, we'll talk soon.